The Sherco, things have been interesting, but it's back. Before that, I want to tell you about today's video sponsor, Flying Eyes. Do you enjoy wearing sunglasses when you ride? I know it's nice. You don't have to bring two visors with you. Less crap you have to carry around. But trying to put normal glasses on inside a helmet is a pain. But Flying Eyes has figured out by having a flexible construction to their glasses that allows them to easily slip into a helmet. And for you prescription users, it's not a problem either. With these magnetic sunglasses, these come in a number of different colors, extremely easy to swap. I love this system. These glasses are extremely nice to wear. I actually just wear them every day. I'll forget the ad, forget YouTube. You see me in the real world, I'm wearing these Flying Eyes glasses. These are just my everyday glasses, my sunglasses, my riding glasses. So quit trying to cram your whatever glasses into your helmet, giving yourself headaches and pressure points, and use the code Jake10. There's a link in the description to save you some money. Thank you to Flying Eyes for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to it. Obviously things didn't exactly go as planned in the last video with the Sherco. If you didn't see that, we bought a brand new Sherco. I took it straight to the racetrack and it straight broke. 8 miles in, it was leaking oil. There's a weep hole right here and it's shooting out oil, but it has been repaired. Moto got on it. They also had to put a new fork seal in it, and they have flashed the ECU with the correct map this time, and man, is it more fun to ride now. Because that video didn't go as planned though, you know, I really didn't get to get into the explanation. I kind of started to explain why I bought this bike, if this was a good idea or not, and when they break in 8 miles, it does make you kind of question, is this a good idea? Should I have done this? Up until now, I've never actually owned a European motorcycle of any kind. I've just stuck to the Japanese brand bikes. And for the most part, that's because of firsthand experience. I mean, the first place I was ever a tech at, we sold Polaris and KTM. And this came back quite a bit for work. What was that reason I always bought Japanese motorcycles?
Even beyond my experience at working at dealerships, was what I saw just going on the Supermoto rides for years. The KTMs, they were always the more finicky bikes. They were always the ones giving you trouble. Someone was gonna break down, it was probably gonna be one of those guys. Well, the bike wasn't gonna start, it was gonna be one of those bikes. One thing I did always acknowledge though, I understood that time I remember going to the dealership on my DRZ, even though my DRZ was pretty souped up, I would, you know, occasionally jump on a 500 EXC, or I think they were like called 530 XCs back then, and I'd be lying if I said that they weren't more bad. I owned a WR450 Supermoto that was plated for years. Love that bike, but yeah, dude, like every time I jumped on someone's KTM, I had to say, damn it, this thing is better. The suspension, the chassis, everything feels better, even from a street ride. But most importantly, just snappier, harder, lighter weight machines. But I still tell myself, nah, it's not worth it. You look though at the European brands, look who runs these brands. You see the Japanese guys, you see a bunch of, well, let's be honest, a bunch of suits and old dudes. You know, they're more interested in how's their cars selling, how's the whatever business going, how's the shipping business going. Then you go look at the European brands, whether it's KTM, Ducati, Sherco. It's always a bunch of dudes that ride. I feel like what makes them do what they do a lot of times is them saying, hey, it would be the good bike to ride at the 6-day event or whatever, you know. And I think because of that, I don't even think they make the best financial decisions. I mean, but it comes through in their bikes. They are nice bikes. But regardless, I still have always stuck to Japanese bikes. But things are a little different for me now. If you're asking yourself, Jake, why did you go from a 300L to a Sherco 500? Well, you gotta ask yourself, why did I go from a WR450 to an XR650R? Why did I go from that to the 3? Like, these decisions are not necessarily based on what I want, although I really did want this. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm being a little greedy. Let me explain. I make YouTube videos, okay? If you hadn't noticed, there's a number of criteria I think about when I buy a bike for the channel, especially when I think I'm gonna hang on to it for a while. And what are those criterias? I mean, a lot of times I gotta look at things like, what's something I think could be beneficial? Like, what's something I could do that could actually be helpful for the average viewer? And so you kind of take on builds that are a little bit different. And that's one, because you don't want to just do the same thing. Like, believe me, I thought plenty of times about buying a KTM 500 the last few years, or 450 RL. Like, I would have rather bought that than the 300L. If I had not just done the 300L project, I probably would be very likely getting this new DRZ thing. That would be a great experiment to run. What would it be like once we modify? Because I think that's a point I always look at. That's an angle I always look at these bikes, is like, what can you make them into? And that Sherco can kind of fall into that category, because I see this as a bike there's almost no media on. I want to know what this thing is like. Literally, I kind of see myself as like somebody who's running experiments. I know, I'm such a saint. I buy these bikes I don't want at all. No, this bike, to be honest, was a little selfishness in that. I'm kind of like a Supermoto guy, right? Is this a little bit my thing? If it's my thing, then I probably ought to have the kick Supermoto on the market. So if I was Jake the sport bike snake, I would think I would need to have the coolest sport bikes you could get, you know what I'm saying?
When I saw this bike, I honestly thought though, like, nobody else makes something like this. Not a real Supermoto built on a race platform that comes with a plate. And yeah, there's a little bit of an issue with that if you go watch the review. Hopefully they'll have that worked out sooner or later. In the meantime, you can always go down to Monkey Moto and pick one of these up with a plate. Nobody's doing this really, better than the SWM, the old Husky. And I think it's also really cool because it is a race chassis, but an enduro race chassis. So it's not so high strung as an MX bike, but it is still a race bike. And I think for motard and to still kind of tool around on the street a little bit, this is cool. This is unique in a whole other way. And that's a deeper subject. Let me know again if you need me to go into that. I feel like that ticks people off when you say that. People out there going, what do you mean my 690 is way better than that bike? I mean, it's probably faster in a straight line, but like, you know, on a Supermoto track, this is gonna get it, right? And speaking of the Supermoto track,
just the Supermoto racetrack alone, I went 5 times, done 5 days Supermoto riding this year. And I think that's kind of a fun avenue to kind of explore a little more of. When you've been playing around on a track on a dual sport bike, even a well-converted dual sport bike, I mean, look, you appreciate what this is.
Something I just noticed here, the entire can is getting like a little bit of a bluish tint to it. It's happening down here at the header, but it's happening back there. The titanium, that's too fancy.
Got an old mystery machine here. I think this French bike is gonna be welcome here. This is a pretty chopper parky only. Oof, oof. It's kind of a Supermoto. Why not jump into the whole European thing if you're gonna do it? Do it big. You know, you could buy a KTM. A lot of people have bought KTMs. A lot of people have done builds on KTMs. And these things are cute and all, you know. I feel like I'm in enemy territory here because it's like not only am I on a motard, I'm on an enemy motard. Should we go in? Should we go in and see what they got going on in there?
Since this is the new build bike for the channel, there's been a question that comes up again and again. It's a good question, which is, what are you gonna do with this thing, Jake? It's kind of already built. Yeah, I know. Listen, maybe I just really, really wanted it, okay? Oh, wait, that's too much truth. To be fair, yes, I've always taken the route of like, let's take a dirt bike, whatever, let's convert it. First of all, I do want to say there are some very interesting things about having a factory Supermoto to one you build at home. Because I've built 4 of them at this point. They're just my own, and I've helped a lot of my friends build them. And I know a lot of little ins and outs, frictional issues and other little things. You buy one that just comes this way and you don't have to deal with any of that. I can literally do a video if you guys want, just talking about store-bought versus factory-built Supermoto bikes. I think it's really interesting. But what am I gonna do with this thing as a build? Well, to be fair, yes, it is very much done up, but I mean, like, Fastlane D buys S1000RRs, and they're absolutely insane how they come out of the box, but he finds all kinds of stuff to do to them. Leave me alone, I can figure out some stuff. There's obviously a bunch of safety stuff. I actually hate it right now because there's not even a skid plate on it, so I really want to get that done. Some ergonomics. Crash protection. This seat, I would love to just throw it away, but I need to get another one first. Someone was asking me the other day, said, Jake, what's the biggest difference between that thing and your 300L? I was like, oh, the thing that stands out the most, not that it's lighter, more powerful, brakes, suspension, the whole, no. I said, you know what you're gonna notice the most is the seat. I really wanna make this thing just like stand out. The point is, I do have a plan of modifications and customizations and stuff I wanna do to it.
So obviously having an issue with a leaky oil pump right off the bat. Oil pump, water pump, the oil seal on the water pump, that sucks.
You got 1,000+ new parts in this thing. Bound to be one that's not perfect or needs to be redone. But when your case study for the Sherco is so small and you see that, you gotta go, am I just getting unlucky or is this what's to come? Well, we'll have to see at this point.
But it happens. I remember one time having a scooter that was dripping oil, like a Metropolitan out of the bottom. And we look underneath there and you're like, yeah, they just didn't put enough Honda Bond on it. No big deal, we just gotta crack the engine, throw some more Honda Bond on it, a couple gaskets, whatever, right? Hey, let's go look at something real quick, because we have a couple more of these upstairs. We had a half dozen of them, was leaking oil the same way. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you, hey, someone better put a call into Japan and tell them the Honda Bond machine and Honda Bond in the whole thing. It needs to do a little more Honda Bonding. Actually, as a tech, that was a great deal because I got to do 6 of those. So like I said, stuff happens to all brands. When your only experience with the Sherco is, the, you know, like the 1 or 2 you've played with and yours breaks right away, it does make you go, And even though Sherco did give me a really good deal on the bike, I don't have any agreements with them, not even a handshake agreement. But I'm gonna tell you guys the honest truth with this bike as it's revealed. I'm kind of like the experiment. I'm kind of doing this to see like what the experience is like for the rest of us. I guess I also have the nice bonus too of like,
I am a mechanic, certified motorcycle mechanic. I know.
Aren't you glad Jake's a mechanic? I went to school.
Shut up, Jake. You say it all the time, but I mean, I am, and because of that, for me, it's not a big deal. But is this something you should rent out and do? Let's see.
I go wheelie and forth. Oh yeah, Jesus. Yeah. Let me know what you think about the old Sherco as we're losing daylight here. Come chat with me in my Discord. Tell me what you think about this thing. To join my Discord, you gotta join my Patreon. I know I'm getting you, but it's only $1. $1 a month. And you often get a longer version of the video, ad-free, uncensored, all the good stuff. Starting to feel this thing a little more, you know. I did put a bigger brake pedal on it, by the way. That is something I've done. I didn't make a video about that. It was literally 2 bolts. I'm sorry. We'll film everything else. The stock one was like, it was very French, you know. It's very the French bike does not need a big brake pedal, you know. The big American foot. French bikes do things, right? Oh, it's leaking oil. This is, you know, it's a new motor. You need to change the oil soon. So we help you out. Like the 300L. Was like, she's a bit too conservative, you know, she's a bit too prude, she's cute as hell, and you can kind of teach her to do some bad things, but ultimately she's only going to go so far. And this is like the French mistress here. This is Minuet here. She's a wild girl. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all next video. Bye-bye.